Holy crap, these people are nuts. You're not gonna believe the video this week. Don't miss it, don't miss it, don't miss it. The heartbeat of America. That's not gonna stop real well. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in and making it work. I'm Jimmy. Welcome back to the channel. We're opening up the shop Monday morning, getting ready to start week 16. We're gonna make it happen this week, even though it's kind of gloomy if you look at the weather out there. Kind of gloomy. The school traffic's fired up. Be the first full week of school for the kids in the area. Get into this video. Alright, Subaru from last week. This is the one that I did the draw test on. He approved the rack and pinion and the axle. Oh, the leaking transmission cooler hoses. Obviously, the battery held up great. Now that the dome light in the back is off. Covered by all those boxes. Here we go. First car. You better be careful with that car, Bill. He had it covered for a reason. Find the leak yet? We're gonna be on YouTube. Oh, I found it. It's leaking in water at the rocker. The rocker's missing. Another thing I did this week was I moved my wrenches to this drawer because the two small drawers were annoying me. The way my wrenches were crammed in, I had them in these drawers. I moved my pliers up here, put the ones I use the most in this drawer and the ones I use second in that drawer. And then I moved my wrenches down here so that it can be a little bit more organized. Piece of cake. The Walt radio didn't make it. Happened to not be picking up stations on the day my son went in the hospital. I was kind of not into it. Got me a new replacement. Because you gotta have music while you work. $39 Amazon special. 2018 Dodge Durango, 54,000 miles. Got check engine light on. Uh-oh. It's also got some clunking and popping in the front end. I have to check. The vehicle is equipped with a security gateway module. Do you want to log in with FCA account to unlock security gateway module? Not unlock security gateway module. Only supports version information. Read DTC and read data stream. That's new. I guess these new Chrysler Fiat products, Ram, whatever you want to call it, I guess they don't let you just hook up your scan tool and scan it anymore. You have to pay for a subscription. But apparently this is the way they're going now. Now you got to pay just to clear codes and stuff. Interesting. I'm glad I'm driving a Toyota. Not bagging on Dodge for you Dodge fanboys. I'm just saying. It's something only Dodge is doing so far. I don't think the, show you guys something if I can hold you still. Sorry about pushing you around like that. I don't think the 3M engineers have thoroughly diagnosed the cause and effect of their system. Yeah. That's not gonna work. I wanted to mention something doing this rack. When you put these fittings back in here, always, no matter what, start them by hand, turn them in as far as you can by hand. Never, ever, ever start them with a wrench. Because if they cross thread, they're gonna leak, or the rack's gonna be sent back under warranty or under comeback. Gotta button this bracket up. Can't get anything much in there other than pickle juicers and a gear wrench. I didn't want to bend the bracket to get it out from under there. Ford Transit van. I'm not sure what the hell that is on the window there. Whew. They complain about intermittently the AC stops working. I think they mean intermittently the fan stops blowing because I got battery voltage. Should be working. I got power and ground, but nothing happens. So it's got a bad blower motor. Easy peasy. Sold an alignment and 4 tires on the Mercedes. Go ahead and knock that out. We don't have the Mercedes tools, but they set up front to just get as close as you can. I don't think they understand how alignments work. See what we can do. Mercedes want ride height measurements, front and rear. See this tool. There's a tool that you put on the certain points on the suspension to measure the angles, and those are the specifications. So I'm just going to use an angle finder instead. We don't have the exact tool, so I'm going to use this magnetic base angle finder. You can see the measurement's about 4 degrees. It's not as precise as a digital one. It'll get me in the ballpark so I can get the alignment as close to correct as possible. Mercedes GLK tail light. Should be pretty simple. Quick, easy job. No brain required. Nice for a little change piece. The light won't stay up. Bummer. Third Mercedes in a row. This one we're checking the sunroof stuck, and it's got a pretty bad smell of gas. Let's see what we got here for mileage. 96,000 miles, so it's about double the life expectancy of a Mercedes. The third Mercedes in a row today. I don't know if I'm being punished, but every single car today is either a Mercedes or a 71 or older vehicle. I got a 62 Rambler I'm still working on. Got that 71 Impala for brake work. Customer states something's wrong with my 20-year-old Mercedes. Oh, this is only 10 years old. This is almost like a brand new one in this town. Is it wrong to have Snap be in the Snap program and own a Mercedes? I don't think so. People should be able to do what they want. It's a free country. Found the source of the gas smell. Not surprisingly, it was gas. The fuel pump module is leaking. It's got a crack in the tube down there. Nasty. I mean, it's spraying gas into the car. Doing it for a while. All right. Pulled some codes out of the sunroof. We got a 984951, 984946, and a 9E7546. and the roller sunblind has a malfunction, which that's why we're in here looking at it. There's an error in the calibration of the parameterization memory. So what I got to do is I got to check my parameterization memory. So, piece of cake, man. We can get this figured out. I don't know if it's going to be in the 1 hour starting hour diagnosis, but we'll get it figured out. I'm going to try the teach-in process. It seems to me like it doesn't know the endpoints. I have to relearn them. Just have to figure out how to do that. I might have to disconnect the battery, start from scratch. Still got a fuel leak, so I don't want to turn the key on and off too much. All right, I popped down the access panel with my pocket screwdriver. This is a little slidey deal that holds the clips in. I just put my pocket screwdriver in here. And then there's a Allen. It's like a 6mm, 4 to 4mm Allen to turn the motor manually to make sure it's not a electrical problem, see if it's mechanical or not. And it's definitely bound up. So something either in this motor drivetrain or in the tracks, and the tracks will all look visibly clear. So I'm going to say it's probably in this motor, and see if the customer wants to remove the motor, see if I can move the window without the motor in place. So we'll find out if it's in the tracks or the motor for sure. On to the next phase of the operation. After some more digging, you can see there's plastic in here coming apart. All the typical Mercedes crumbling plastic. Well, 40% of these sunroof guides are plastic, and they're coming apart and binding up the slides. So we're gonna have to replace the sunroof assembly. Let's see what that costs. I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, these lug nuts are pretty rusty in the studs. $100. Obviously, it's not going to take off some of these bigger truck wheels and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel strong enough. It says 250 foot, thinking it's more like 150 foot-pounds. If it had a 3/8 bit on it, it might be a much more usable tool. You could put an adapter from 1/2 inch to 3/8. Probably wouldn't have to worry about it breaking your adapter. These are some pretty nasty, rusty nuts. It's taking them off. Some of these nuts are expanded a little bit. Typical composite lug nut. Well, that's certainly not good, ma'am. I don't know what happened, but it's got all new brakes and rotors at all 4 corners. With this one wheel, it looks like they should have changed the caliper. Take a look over here. New brakes and rotors and a caliper. So I'm thinking that caliper stuck on that side and destroyed everything. Do it again. Do it again. Customer states I hear a noise.
The rear end.
That thing looks like it rusted. It rusted over here, or a bolt fell out on the passenger side. No! Ford Fiesta, the clutch is slipping in the dual clutch transmission. So the boss gave him an estimate on a clutch, because the customer said my clutch is slipping. So the boss gave him an estimate for a manual clutch, and he rushed down here for a quick, I think it was $1,100 or so to do a clutch. He rushed on down here because we were half the price of everybody else. Started taking it apart and looked at the parts and said, that's not the parts that go to this, that's for a manual transmission. I said, no, it's a dual clutch. It's a manual that's shifted by the computer. So you need a different kind of clutch, and there's tools to take it off the transmission. The parts cost 4 times as much, so the parts alone are almost what the whole job was for a manual transmission's regular clutch. So now it also looks like the front seal in the transmission is leaking transmission fluid onto the clutch. The customer failed to mention that part as well. That's one of the reasons over-the-phone estimates and over-the-phone ordering parts, probably not a good idea. Bring it in, let one of the technicians look at it and give an accurate price. But they keep doing it. Really weird, hard to explain. I guess they like the frustration of having done it wrong and having to do it again. It's like a front desk comeback. Time for a Mazda Escape, Mazda Tribute, same thing. A wheel alignment. So we're gonna jack this up, check the front end. Got fairly new tires on it. Not too bad, they're like 8 30 seconds or so. Should be all right. make sure the ball joints and tie rod ends are good. Now I know why the sneaky rascals want alignment. They put new struts in. Dang it. Probably has a good front end. Tons of guns, got new tie rod ends, new struts, new lower control arms. No sale. Great alignment. Ooh, still worked out pretty good. Just had to set the toe. Everything else is good and not adjustable anyway. Separate camber kits. Not too bad. Look at that son of a gun. New Crescent adjustable wrench on sale on Amazon. So I picked it up for big job. It's in my tool haul video. If you guys watch my tool haul video, I talk about it a little bit in there. Now I just got to find a place to fit it. It's a big son gun. It fits all right. Little Hyundai Accent. You want to check for noises. It's not supposed to do that. Plus there's a bolt. Someone worked on the power steering and the bolt is touching the pulley. It's got some issues. It's got a bad axle. It's got 254,000 miles on this little Hyundai Accent. My next one's check AC on this Dodge Journey. The fan's not blowing. Towed in for a no crank, no start. Put my jump box on it, fired right up. It's charging good, 14.4. So I had him call Paul Harvey to get the rest of the story. So check this out. My WAKYME impact gun. It's got a bit thing in the middle of the 1/2-inch anvil, which I thought was pretty funny. But it doesn't have any way to hold it in. So I think it'd be way better off as a bit driver or as a 3/8 gun rather than a 1/2 inch. Although, like you saw, it did tighten those wheels and it did loosen them. $100. I think my final opinion on that tool is it's a decent tool for $100 for someone to use out of their garage or house or their house. They just want to take a wheel on and off, or they might have to work on something at home. But it's not going to suit, not going to be suited for professional use. I mean, I'm all about saving money where you can. Really, a 3/8 impact or a bit driver gun, impact gun, that they put a 1/2-inch anvil on. I am going to do a long-term review of it as well. I'm going to use it as often as I can. We'll find out soon. Went ahead and opened her up, spread her wide for everyone to see, because I was really concerned about the plastic cover. I thought it was a plastic nose cone, but it is alloy. Ball bearings. Now we're going to test the strength of this tool on this Ford Transit van. This thing's metal to metal pretty bad. We're doing some rear brake. I hope you guys can't overhear Metallica battery in the background because I'll get a copyright strike. Awesome song though. See if the WAKYME is able to take these caliper bracket bolts out. That's a fail. All right, my baby Ingersoll air gun. Love this thing. Nice and light, easy to maneuver around in spots. See if it's stronger than the WAKYME electric. That bolt's pretty tight. All right, things are about to get real. It's either gonna snap the gear wrench adapter or loosen it. Oh, that's tight. Yeah, rookie. Try it again. Oh yeah. No more games. That's enough. No more games out of you. Took the bolts out of the rotor. Axle's out. The axle's trapped by the flange. Yeah. So the bolts go through the flange, through the hub, into the rotor, and the hub's trapped by the lock. Popping my cherry. The best thing on these Transit is to, apparently the hub and the axle are indexed to each other. So you're supposed to mark, but if you pull it apart before realizing that, what you can do is look for these 3 dots. There's 3 dots on the hub and there's 3 dots on the axle. You see there are 3 dots. Kind of hard to make out, but there's 3 dots on the axle too. They also say not to reuse the bolt. Ford does recommend replacing the bolts, so keep that in mind if you're doing rotors on these. You'll need 10 bolts. This rotor's much prettier. This one, nasty. Fleet pads have a much better lifespan than regular brake pads do. This thing had a little bit uneven pad wear, so I'm gonna go over the slides real well. Spray everything off with brake clean real good. Go through all these pins and make sure everything's nice and free. New hardware. Gotta rotate the pistons back. One side's gonna be right-hand thread, one side's gonna be left-hand thread. Turning these calipers back, the right caliper is left-hand thread and the left caliper is right-hand thread. But I also wanted to mention too, I spray a little bit of this deep creep or anything similar you have on the boot, and the boot won't fight you turning the piston back. A lot of times the boots are kind of grippy and dried out, and they'll fight you and make it way harder to turn the piston. So I just spray a little bit of lubricant on there and it helps turn everything back. It's not leaking, but it makes it look like it is. I just spray with brake clean after I'm all done. Got these brakes about finished up. See where I marked this one. I caught it in time. I didn't have to look for the dots in between the flange. You know what too, CP mentioned, CP, the tool addict, He mentioned these soft hoses that Napa sells, and since we're a Napa store, we have them everywhere. We haven't punctured one yet. He was talking about how soft they are. We're lucky we haven't punctured any yet, but they do get pretty nasty like he was talking about. You can see that used to be a yellow hose, so they definitely get pretty nasty. But I like them because they don't kink and they're nice and flexible. You can whip them around. I mean, that's way more flexible than a regular air hose. Durability, I haven't had a problem, although yeah, they do get nasty. What do you guys think? You think it'll do it? I think it will. Dodge Journey has no blower fan, so most people go bad blower motor or resistor, but I pulled the wiring diagram up and you can see power supplied to the motor all the time. It's controlled on the ground side. I put my test light into the blower motor. I have no ground. It shows power on both sides. And I look in the wiring diagram, the ground comes from the control head to the blower resistor. I checked with the blower resistor, there's no ground on any circuit, no matter what speed I put it on. A lot of people have had problems with control heads, but some people are saying you wiggle this and the fan will turn on, but it's not turning on at all. So my next step is going to be to pull this panel and check for ground coming out of the control panel directly and make sure the control panel is getting its ground, which I think it is, because you can see the lights come on and all that stuff. The power buttons work. Figuring it's going to have a ground, but you still have to go through and make sure before you sell the customer a control panel, of course. All right, guys, working on this Dodge Journey. Got no blower. I'm going to check for voltage drop at the back of the control panel and check for power. The black wire is the ground feed to the control panel. No voltage drop there. The blue and yellow is battery voltage from the IPDM. Got 14 volt. 3 wires in the middle are the outputs to the blower resistor. If I go to 0 on the fan, I can hear the compressor clutch turn off. That's terrible. My next thing, I'm going to get a jumper ground, and I'm going to jump from the ground wire to one of the output wires and see if the blower works. All right, hook up my trusty Lang wire spool up. Blower fan. Now I got a ground on that circuit and the fan works. So we got a bad control panel. When you look on Identifix, it's the #1 cause of no blower in this vehicle. The lady came in with this Dodge Journey, upset that another shop told her she needed a computer. It's not really a computer, it's a control panel. But they may have called it a control module or an HVAC module. It's just a control panel. This has manual AC, so there's no communication with it. It's just a hardwired controller for the blower resistor. So we're going to sell her a control panel, see what that costs. This one fixed. Easy diag on this one. Doing the axle and the other work on this. It's got a bad wheel bearing. But something I noticed when I lifted up, I went to take the wheel off. I had to let it back down because it's got wheel locks. Oh my God, this is turning out to be a pretty weird week. Let's see if we can WAKYME this axle nut. That's not looking good. Ooh, the socket's getting hot from all the banging. That's my baby Ingersoll did it. Uh-oh. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Got some flyers from the Mac man who's now an independent. I'm gonna show you the truck. Monkey Tools. Mac truck. Now it's Monkey Tools, specializing in Milwaukee, Bosch, and gear wrench. Also Redback, Streamlight, Launch, Gray Pneumatic, Autel. The Monkey Tools truck.
I gotta step outside for this phone call.
It's got quite a few goodies on here. Everything from Sunex, Vim, a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Every gear wrench truck should have puppy dogs. Friendly and full of energy, huh?
Oh yeah.
Is that is that his dog or your dog?
My dog.
Oh, okay. He likes daddy, huh?
She's saying hello again.
Yeah.
I left her.
She hasn't seen you for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, they have no sense of time.
No, they just know they miss you. They say with a dog thinks every time you leave you're not coming back.
Right.
You know? That's how they act. Got a whole bunch of cool.
They're just glad to see you again.
Autel, K-Tool.
K-Tool.
Got Aircat, gear wrench. It's got the I did a review on this cart.
Yeah.
They're actually nice carts. The only thing I wasn't crazy about is the amount of space. There's double the space you need up top, and the bottom drawer is really big. But super nice cart for the money.
And they got the side card for your tall
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And this has the Rhino coating type surface on it. It's got his own Monkey Tools brand.
You interested? Give you a good deal.
No. I tried one. He sent me one, and I sent it back because it's a great cart, but I thought it was a lot of wasted space for me because I work out of my cart every day. Basically, I try not to go to my big box if I don't have to. Lots of tools on board. Look at all that Milwaukee stuff. Gloves.
She's happy to see me now. She saw me, so
now she's done with. Now she can go up there and wait for snacks and stuff. Nice. Truck looked good. Got quite a bit of stuff on here. I'm glad you guys came back by. You're gonna be coming in on a regular basis?
Yeah,
Pliers. Got my Monkey Tools screwdriver. Oh yeah. Dodge Durango. Customer complaining about a noise, popping noise. Got it to do it. I don't know if you can see that. This isn't tight. Tie rod and popping under certain conditions. Car's been in a wreck. You can see sketchy body work. Yeah, it probably doesn't show up on camera, but there's sanding marks and sketchy paint job stuff like Earl Scheib body repair. You don't really need a giant crescent adjustable wrench for 19mm tie rod lock nuts, but I wanted to use it, so it's overkill. Dodge Durango 2018 with 54,000. I got good news. I got bad news and I got good news. You can't go in manufacturer specific and clear the check engine light, but you can go in OBD2 and clear the check engine light. I think it'll let me look at data and manufacturer specific, but won't let me clear the codes and do bi-directional tests and stuff like that. But in OBD2 mode, I was sitting here thinking there's got to be a way. I found this clunking noise, the loose tie rod. I said there's got to be a way to mess with this check engine light and the evap code, P0456. And then it just dawned on me, I'm like, well, it'd be illegal for them to stop it from working through OBD2. I know they have to allow that. Cleared it. I'm gonna drive it and see if the code comes back. It may have to sit overnight. Customer's not in a big rush. Thingamajigger was obviously in a big old wreck. Other things going on, sketchy body work. So maybe I'll do a smoke test. First I'm gonna see if the light comes back on its own. So that light could have been on from whenever the body work was done and they left the tie rod loose. You gotta figure it out. I'm not gonna send this thing to the dealer just yet. If it don't dodge, junk it. It's got some brakes now. Look at that bad boy. Put his master cylinder and booster in for him. It's not very showy, but I put a little clear on the master even though it was already starting to rust. But trying to help him out a little bit. It's got some chrome peeling a little and all. That's an EFI system, not a carb. It's actually got some serious power. Runs pretty strong. Oh my goodness, if you guys could feel that air conditioning from here. Oh, I didn't even need it all the way up. That's freaking cold. Let's turn the fan down. When I told them this needed a control panel, they said, "Are you sure? We can't return it." Been working here 14 years. Anyway, it's fixed. Customer hears a funny noise. We recommended sway bar links, and she had her boyfriend put them on for her, but she still has the same damn noise and she's not happy about it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Uh-oh. Customer had a little fender bender. Popped the headrest. Now I gotta try to reset it. They're a little bit of a monster. Ta-da! Guess what? Got another one. Oh no! I'm gonna take this thing to the next level. Let's see what we come up with for codes here. Failed to unlock security gateway in case of non-FCA users. The diagnostic software only supports version information, read DTC and read data stream function. They're making it so no one can work on it except the dealership. Here we go. Good luck. 03 Forfignugan got the Christmas tree effect going on in the dashboard. Airbag light. Let's see what we find here. Uh-oh. I'm not getting anything from my ALDL. Time to look at the fuses. No big deal. Just a little pin fit issue in the old Alfred Darrell there. I just gave her a little wiggle. It's like new now. Marking codes left and right. Uh-oh. Got a 1218 airbag. Resistance too high. Should be interesting. Alright. I took a peek in the old data stream in his Volkswagen. And the old peeky poo showing me the side airbag, front passenger side, is too high. All the others are correct. So I'm going to go to this airbag and check the connection. Give it a little jiggle, see if that changes anything. Test the resistance of the airbag very carefully after disconnecting the battery for a few minutes so the airbag discharges. And we'll go from there. Probably gonna need an airbag though. I'll look at the bulletins real quick, see if there's any bulletins about this problem. Sometimes you'll find harness and connector information and save yourself a little bit of legwork. That's what I love about Identifix. High resistance airbag connector located under seat for the side airbag. Fault code, side airbag connector. Probably got a pretty good idea. See it in there? The yellow connector? That's a rascal. I went in there and wiggled it around a little bit. Now I'm gonna see if I clear the code and it stays away. And then I might try wiggling it while I clear the code. I'll let you guys know what happened. Voila! I tried clearing the codes earlier and they came right back. Going in there and wiggling that little yellow booger under the seat. No more fault code. So I know that connector's bad. Now I'll see if the customer wants to put a connector in there or wiggle it around when the light bothers them. Chevy Colorado. I believe it's like a, this here is 05. 8 of 04 Colorado, 212,000 miles. That's really odd. Both hoses are hooked up, pressure cycling. Not showing any pressure on the high side. Got to have a major restriction between the high side fitting and the compressor. I believe that comes around here. Expansion valve. It's not pulling the low side into a vacuum, but it's not building any high side pressure. So the Freon's not coming around. The system's got a major block. Luckily, it's got a pressure transducer in the high side line. So I'm going to use my scanner, jump up in that ECM data to see what it thinks the pressure is at the pressure transducer versus the port for the AC. Hey, there I am. What's up? 5-speed, so you know it's a high-performance vehicle. 211,859. Air conditioning pressure sensor. That's what I want to see. I'm going to assume it's not going to show high, because if it was showing high at that pressure transducer, then it would pull on the low side down. Pressure sensor 3.2, 4.1. Key on, engine off. What does my pressure transducer say now? Going down. So what this is telling me now, I don't know if you guys can see it, I see a big glare on my GoPro screen. There's a pressure change on the high side at that pressure transducer, but the machine still shows 0 on the high side. So either there's a problem with the AC machine or there's a blockage before we get to the AC machine connection. I'm going to try the other AC machine we have, and if that shows no pressure on the high side, then I'm going to look for a major blockage in the system. Hooked up the second AC machine, same story. Not reading any pressure on the high side. About outside air temperature, give or take 5 or 10% on the low side. Definitely opened all the way up. There's no pressure in this valve. This goes down to the compressor, and the compressor hose comes up here, goes right over to where that valve is. So now we're gonna have to find the blockage. Condenser or the liquid line. All right, I'm thinking, trying to figure out what's going on. Something really unusual. I've never seen no pressure on the high side. So I hooked the machine up. I was gonna pull all the refrigerant out, recycle it, and then look at this fitting and see if I can see any trash in the line or what might be in there. And when I hooked it up, I got pressure. So then I went into the vehicle and the AC works nice and cold. I haven't done anything to it. So I'm still saying there's something going on inside the system, causing blockage somewhere. I went from having no pressure with 2 different machines, racking my brain trying to think. I've never seen no pressure on the high side and the low side cycling at 60 to 75 PSI. I was doubting my diagnosis, trying to figure out what's going on as far as blockage, because the condenser and everything is before the transducer, and the transducer's reading pressure. So I said, maybe there's something going on with the fitting itself, which is a pretty simple little spring and a Schrader with a plastic cap on the Schrader. So I was wondering, maybe there's something going on with the fitting myself, and I was going to pull that fitting out. I hooked the machine up and it read pressure. So I started the truck up and it's cold. So I think this truck has ghost diseases. I'm wondering if Whoopi Goldberg's going to show up and try to see if Patrick Swayze can talk to Demi Moore or something. Something weird going on. I'm still going to go ahead and pull the Freon out and have a look at that high side fitting. But whether the high side fitting's blocked or not, it wasn't cold before. Now I have a pressure reading and it's cold. So there's something moving around in the system, I think, on the high side causing a blockage. But it's going to be intermittent, which is always fun. A lot of times the dryers will come apart and send debris into the condenser and it'll be floating around. And if it blocks the outlet port, but that should spike the pressure. The high side fitting's after the condenser. So I guess if it blocked it on the inlet of the condenser, it could show no pressure. And the transducer is reading, the voltage chart shows it's probably about 275 psi at 3.4, 3.5 volts. Because 4.8 volts is 431 psi or something like that. I'm going from memory, but something very strange with this old Colorado. Air's nice and chilly now. Another day in the neighborhood, as my buddy used to say. While I was waiting for this thing to vacuum down, I'm gonna put 15 minutes on it. I started taking a look through my Monkey Tools Pro Tech catalog, and a couple of things really stood out for me. And I remember my Snap-on ball joint tool was $745, which I thought was ridiculous. But I bought it because it's one of the best. And I keep hearing how the new Matco one is the best. Apparently Schley makes the new Matco one, because this is the exact same tool. $1,279. I asked if that was a typo, and apparently it isn't. It's $1,279. So yeah. Then I noticed the sweet jump box. Looks pretty cool. $919. Rolling battery charger. Seen these at the Harbor Freight for like $139. I'm sure it's not as good as the $680 one, but you know, I hope you guys aren't buying this stuff. That's ridiculous. I guess it's a race to the bottom for a lot of these tool manufacturers. This is a tool truck guy. I don't think he prints his own catalogs. I think he's showing you a generic catalog made by his suppliers for them to sell stuff. It's got packages in here like a string trimmer, $500. I mean, you can buy, there's probably 30 brands of electric string trimmers that you could buy for $299. Maybe Milwaukee's getting $500 for theirs. I'm gonna look online tonight and compare some of these prices, but $700 for a Milwaukee chainsaw. Vilbus spray gun, I know they're kind of expensive to begin with, $580. Sunglasses, safety glasses, $7 bucks. There you go. $31 for a rubber glove. I just bought some not long ago for $15.99. $102 for the Mayu hose clamp tool I bought for $79 off of a tool truck actually. Maybe the prices have gone up a lot since then. $200 for sunglasses. Woo, they're making it really hard to be a mechanic nowadays. I don't know who's buying this stuff. Keep looking, guys. Keep researching. Don't just buy stuff. Okay, back to my AC job. Hey guys, just between you and me, I wanted to let you know something. We had a customer. Well, it's a customer's ex-wife. She just came in. What's funny is that she came in and she said, we're living in a TV show, a world full of soulless creatures hooked on drugs with no morals. And then she said that she had a drug problem and she wanted one of us to take her away. Will anybody in the shop take me away? Will you take me away? She asked the boss. I overheard her in the office. I had to get out of there before she came over to me. And then right after her, another customer was yelling and complaining at the front desk about our oil change being $48. That was ridiculous. The most oil changes are $9. So I don't know what's happening between this Colorado AC job and a couple of these women that just came in the front office there. They could be walking around here anywhere and sneak up from behind. It's pretty freaking funny, man. What a hump day. 2019 Dodge Caravan. Got 9,200 miles on it. We're going to see what's wrong with this one. They don't want to go back to the warranty manufacturer type dealership guy. That's kind of weird. 2019 Dodge Caravan. Let's see if it locks me out like the Dodge Durango did. Had to go into OBD2, but you guys already know all that. It shows 92.58 on the clock. You'd hope most of these Dodges could make it to 10,000 miles, but apparently it's asking a lot. 2019, attention! It's necessary to report this vehicle information to us. Please keep the network connection and log in normal. It's doing the same thing the Durango did, I believe, because they're saying you're going to need to do software. There you go. This vehicle is equipped with the SGW Security Gateway Module, which keeps you from working on vehicles if you don't work at the dealership. Everybody buying these new Dodges, there wasn't any way for them to make it any better. I want to do a health report. I got the engine running, so the air's on. Maybe they don't want me to do that. They're going to tell me to turn the engine off. We'll see. Uh-oh. Got some codes up in this biatch. PCM 456 evap, small leak, same code as the Durango had. Rear control head blower request input circuit short to battery. ECU reset occurred. Battery voltage low, system voltage low. Uh-oh, this thing might just have a bad battery. I haven't checked the battery yet. I wanted to see what the codes were first. You guys know that when you're whenever you're doing a diagnosis with every diagnostic, You really have to check the battery. Especially, it's kind of weird. Dodge, Mercedes, BMWs, they do not like if your battery goes under 11 volts, then you might have 50 codes in there related to your battery voltage going low. But it won't tell you that, except in some of the codes it's going to say battery voltage goes low, ECU communication is lost. So I haven't checked it yet because this vehicle only has 9,000 miles on it. It's a year and a half old. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to head out, check the battery, clear these codes and see what's going on. I'll probably have to go back into OBD2 for me to clear the codes. It won't let me do it if I'm in specific Dodge software. I'm not running out to buy a Dodge anytime soon. Just because Dennis Tools bought a Dodge Ram and now he's all pro Dodge, that doesn't mean I'm going to do it. So I'm an actual mechanic. I know better. Just messing around, relax. Diagnostic codes have been cleared, bitch. How do you like that? 9,000 miles. You don't believe me? Look, 9,258 miles. Congratulations. Make a vehicle that's crap and then make it harder to work on. Mechanics are definitely going to recommend your stuff. Hook up the old Midtronics on this bad boy. Already 12.5, that's not good. It does have a dyed hard in it. Let's go ahead. Above 32, yes, it's Florida. It's only 3 days a year, it might go below that. Good recharge, 637 CCA. Well, it's fully charged unless the alternator's not working. I'm gonna have to fire up the motor and check the alternator now. Bastards. Cranking result normal. Press arrow for a charging test. 14.1. So that's an indicator that this battery is pretty borderline. It's gonna recommend the battery. Clear the codes and see what comes back. We're not going to go there until the code comes back after replacing this battery. Don't Dodge, Ram it. Can't say that anymore. I guess Ram and Dodge are two separate companies technically. Printed a service bulletin for this PO456 on this 2019 Caravan with 9,000 miles on it. There is a software update for this code. That's probably why the Durango I couldn't find anything wrong with. Probably a similar thing, although they didn't have a service bulletin for the public yet. Talks about how you have to put a special battery charger on it that keeps it between 13.2 and 13.5, blah blah blah, all that's normal stuff. And then at the end I got a kick out of this too. Look what they pay their technicians. All of the special rules you got to follow, verifying a concern for the customer, checking for leaks and stuff, right? And then the module powertrain reprogram. 0.2. So they're paying their technicians. It's not a typo. They're paying 0.2. So Dodge locks the aftermarket out of their vehicles, has their mechanics go get the vehicle, pull a car into the shop, verify the concern, check for service bulletins, and update the vehicle, and then verify that the programming was completed correctly, clear any codes afterwards. Probably should take it for a drive. If I reprogram a vehicle, I want to road test it another 15 minutes or so. And they pay you 0.2. And then the manufacturers wonder why they have a hard time finding competent people to do the job. And they hold everyone very responsible for the end result. And then they pay you 0.2. So it shouldn't be a big giant shock that some mechanics have a bad reputation. And most of the manufacturers and dealerships all live in mansions and have a really expensive yacht and blame all the problems on the mechanics. 0.2 is not going to cut it. That's the message. That's what I'm saying. I have a video on that if you haven't seen it yet. Mechanics versus manufacturers. Eventually these administrators, executives, CEOs, and people are going to be fixing these cars out in the parking lot themselves. Morons. Alright, enough of this insanity. Blowing ice cold. I just put a new fitting in the high side. It had started blowing cold before I even did that. I mean, it's ice cold. It even says freeze on the radio. Oh my god, it's turned out to be a funny ass week. Having a good time. My son's doing a lot better, by the way. A couple guys sent prayers and get well wishes. I really appreciate that. He's been out of the hospital since Monday, so he's doing a lot better. He's back to about 80% or so, 90% maybe. Doing real good. So thanks for all the well wishes. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna finish this week out Thursday and Friday. Doing pretty good as far as being busy. A lot of crazy out there. Woo. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the crazy one, but then I see stuff like that, I know it's not me. Woo! The haunted Colorado, the AC works, and sometimes the AC doesn't work, and there's no high side pressure at this high side fitting. Back to try to change the valve out just to make sure it was going to show me what's really going on. Maybe it was lying to me. Although the air was warm when it wasn't showing pressure. I went back to work on it. It showed pressure and the air blew cold. We sold them a dryer and expansion valve, and I'm like, well, Why not a condenser? I didn't sell it. I got a feeling in a week or two it's gonna come back not working, and then they're gonna go, hey Jimmy, in Colorado, you worked on the AC? So anytime someone tells me how bad mechanics are, this is the kind of stuff that makes me say, well, let me tell you my side of the story. See what happens. All right, guys, it's Friday. Let's see what we can get done today. Finish the week off strong. All right, it was cold before we fixed it, and it's cold after we fixed it. So far, so good. We'll see what happens in a week or two. Stay tuned. See Joe in this position quite often. A couple hours a day. 2008 Ford Escape, 103,000 miles. Not really maintained that well. I'm making assumptions, I guess. Most people, if they don't clean the car, they don't maintain their car. It's not a etched in stone. That's just a vibe. See what we get here. It's got a transmission slip, and I felt it slip, so that's good. But there is no check engine light. I want to see if there's codes though. System selection. Let's go. Hey. PCM, see what kind of code you got. Communicado, taking a while. Hope it's not excommunicado. Make a lot of noise while I'm filming over here. Oh, you the only one that matters in the shop? Oh, I mean, don't worry about it. I'm not the only one that matters in the shop. That's what I meant. Oh, incomplete. Well, that means someone cleared the codes out. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Now, well, that's freaking terrible. Go into data, and we'll see if it has a PID for line pressure, because it feels to me like it's got low line pressure or it's low on fluid. I checked the fluid, fluid's full, a little bit brown and smells burnt. You drop it into gear and it just kind of you hit the gas, boop, jumps into gear. I'm vibing a new transmission. I'm not thinking they're gonna drop $5 grand in this vehicle, because that's about what a Jasper installed in this thing would probably end up being. So now I gotta figure out what PIDs I like. Oop. I think the imp is heading down the road. Seemed like a nice guy. It did smell like someone kicked a skunk when he was around, but good guy. Smiled a lot, it's friendly. That's what matters. Line pressure, look at that. Desired control. Boom. Line pressure control. You gotta put it in gear. Monk. Uh-oh. That's in reverse. No foot on the brake. Transmission's in reverse. Nothing's happening. Put it in drive. Desired and actual are nowhere near in line. Put it down in low. But a weak pump. Yeah, the desired PSI and the actual PSI. Oh wow! Not even close.
That's a big. That's a nice PID there. That's wow.
The best it does is about half of desired PSI, so that's why it's slipping. Nice. Transmission pump has. What's the family-friendly phrase? The transmission pump has pooped the mattress. We'll probably give them an option between a used low miles one. You know, every salvage yard transmission is 44,000 miles. Or a Jasper. And the Jasper is really expensive. The last time the prices have been getting a little crazy. $6,000. They'll probably give them an option of a used one, which I hate to do, because we put used ones in and 2 months later they're back at the same problem or something else happens. I mean, that's why they call it a junkyard. We'll see what happens. We got a new lift. It's exciting.
There's no like grip on this or anything. I wish there was some type of traction on the wheels.
Pretty cool, huh? This is supposed to be able to do the heavy trucks and stuff. We get a lot of, see, we got buses. So that's what this lift's for. So Bill don't have to slide around on a creeper doing oil changes on buses. We don't want Bill to be in a creeper working on buses. Pretty exciting, new lift. You just gotta wire it now. I'm gonna wire it like this. It's probably
that ending and just keep your hand on the lift.
It's probably more complicated than that. I'm guessing. Probably the most slippery ramps ever. Now it's scratched. Definitely pretty slippery. That was a pretty fun week. Real interesting, couple of ups and downs. Today, Friday today, we're changing over our software program. So it really wiped us out as far as the workload, because they were afraid to take in work when we were trying to switch over our software program. RO Writer's junk. So fixing to get a nasty storm. This Florida weather is kicking in. You can see it up here. Finishing off week 16 strong. Monday, episode 17 starts. Appreciate you guys watching, making it work. I hope it was worth your time. You guys are awesome. The channel's doing really good. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. See you guys next week.